Happy Friday, everyone, and happy Pride. How are you? What's going on? Who or what are you celebrating? I always say there's so much to celebrate when and if we take the time to do so. I want to begin today by thanking my sponsors for this month, Jeff Harner, Loria Michelle, and Ethan Matthias. And check them out. Check out their shows. Go and see them. Go and see a live show. There's nothing like the experience of being with so many people. Last night, I went to see Melba Moore at 54 Below, and she was as fabulous as you can possibly imagine. She just gets better and better and better, and her age defies everything. I mean, she is just amazing. On Sunday, I will be marching with Actors Equity in the Pride March. Now, I will explain to all of you who may or may not know that we do not refer to it as a parade. According to Heritage of Pride, we do not call it a parade until there is equality for everyone. And I mean across the board for everyone. But today we're going to be celebrating with 5 incredible artists who all put the P in pride. And I'm so excited that they're here. And I'm going to begin with my dear friend, Prince Fleet Easton. We get royalty on the show. Not that we don't always have royalty on the show. But I want to ask you, Fleet, first of all, it's good to see you again. And who or what are you celebrating today?
Well, I'm celebrating being here with you and all these wonderful other artists. And I'm celebrating that we have a temperature today under 100.
Well, well, I think we're getting close to that. I went for several walks today, and each time that I walked out, the temperature was a little hotter. I am hoping and praying that, I know it's going to be like 85 on Sunday, but I'm hoping that there's not a lot of humidity in the air. I also want to bring on my dear friend, Gretchen Reinhagen. I just absolutely love her. The last time that we saw each other was when we went to see Milk and Honey.
That's right.
Several months ago.
That's
but
right.
What are you celebrating today?
Well, then I was celebrating Eric Michael Gillette, who is one of my closest friends. But today, you know, it's a little weird. So I'm kind of celebrating the kickoff to summer, but in so many weird ways for me, maybe because the first half of the year was just kind of quiet for me. I feel like my year is just getting started. And I'm very odd that way. I'm never really quite on the right calendar. So I'm kind of celebrating like the kickoff to what I hope will be a good 2026 for me. I think it's my mother's fault because my mother was a school teacher. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people used to always say, I don't know how it is now because I've been out of the education world for a long time. But, you know, people always say, oh, you get 2 months vacation if you're a school teacher. No, you get 2 months of unemployment is what you get.
Wow.
So, you know, you go the whole summer without a paycheck and then you get your first paycheck at the end of the first month of teaching. So my mother would get paid, you know, the beginning of October. So we never did back to school shopping before October. So I have been in that mindset. Like I do my New Year's resolutions in March.
Wow.
So I'm always. So I'm kind of celebrating the start of the year, which is not weird for me.
Well, good for you. And how about them apples?
How about them apples?
And I also am so excited. Yesterday was his birthday, and Michael is here. Michael Collum is my musician of choice, my musical director when I am in Palm Springs or Los Angeles. And I just love working with you, Michael. And I'm thrilled that you're here today. So who or what are you celebrating today?
Well, obviously, I'm still celebrating my birthday because it can't be limited to one day, can it?
That's right. That's right.
You know, I'm celebrating the fact that we can do this. We can be out and proud and with each other and celebrating our talents and our achievements and what we're interested in and what we're doing.
And our husbands.
Amen.
And I hope that we're all able to do that for the indefinite future. And, you know, we may have to fight to keep the right to
Well, we have to fight. We have to fight. I don't know if you've seen the news today. Pete Buttigieg is in the news because his family's been targeted. And so it's just horrible. We still have to keep doing what we're doing. I also want to bring on John Phillip. And John Phillip is the new friend of mine. And I'm thrilled that you're here today, John. And you have a show this weekend at Don't Tell Mama, which we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
But who or what are you celebrating today?
Well, you know, first of all, Gretchen, I love your idea. I always go, oh my God, it's July, or oh my God, it's June, and
How?
wait, where's 2026? But we call every month the first month. But I'm celebrating. I'm due of a Pride show coming, so I've had to do a lot of thinking, about what I was going to open with and think about. And I guess one thing I would say, I mean, of course there's struggles, and of course there are things we have to, be looking for. But isn't it amazing? And I mean amazing, in my lifetime anyway, when I remember walking in parades when we went up Fifth Avenue to the park, it was a little thin line. And now you can really go anywhere in the country. I mean, I was in St. Louis not so long ago. Gay life is everywhere, and trans life, and people. I don't care what's going on in the in the government, whatever is it. It seems as though the society has just taken a decision, which is we're going to accept. Most people are going to do it. I mean, of course, I don't mean to be naive. There's different, but I mean, I think we have to celebrate how extraordinary it is. Really, that we're doing this, and it's not even a great, it's not even a great. What's the word? It's not a great angst moment. Rather, it's a celebratory moment. We're all
right.
As it should be. We celebrate, but we remember where we came from.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And last, but certainly not least, my month got kicked off because I was asked, Michele and I have known each other, believe it or not, 45 years.
Ooh.
We've known each other a long, long time. Amazing comedian. And she asked, well, it's true. And she asked me to open for her at Pangea to kick off the month. And I was so thrilled and honored. And it was a great night.
Yes. Thanks to you.
Well, thanks to you. So who or what are you celebrating today?
You know what? I wasn't celebrating anything now that you mentioned it. I got to start celebrating something. Do you know me, Richard? 45 years. Do I ever celebrate?
Yes.
I'm Jewish. We don't celebrate. Anyhow, listening to you guys, I'm thinking, you know what? I got to tell you, last New Year's, last Gay Pride, I was not in a good space. I just finished a 12-year relationship. I was I moved, and I was a little depressed because it was so different than all my other Gay Prides. And I also thought about how old I am, and how many Gay Prides I have been through, and my God, I'm a little suicidal. But anyhow, how did it happen, Richard? How did I get this old? I'm not kidding. I don't know. How do I look? Can I put the light on?
Well, you look great, and it beats the
You look great.
but you know what? I want to say, I worked with Melba Moore on a cruise. And she remembers me. I saw her not long ago. I wish I would have gotten. Well, you didn't ask me to go with you, but if you had,
I put it out there. It was in my newsletter, so read my newsletter if you don't.
I didn't get your newsletter. You're not on your list. You don't care about me.
Did she write that great song, "I've Got Love"?
She didn't write it, but she sings it.
She performed it. Well, in my show, Seth's going to do it.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
I just love Seth. Just wonderful. So I want to go around with each of you. And since we are celebrating Pride today, and I'm going to start with you, Fleet. And I want to ask you, what exactly does Pride mean to you? And why do you think it's important that we still have a month to celebrate Pride? And it's more than just celebrating. It's acknowledging our history. It's acknowledging where we are and where we have to go. So what, encompassing all of that, what does Pride mean for you?
Well, it means, for me, I spent most of my early career, like many of us, not really being who I truly am because of the business. And now we can celebrate and we can be who we are, and it doesn't make a difference. And we can take pride in not having to hide when we go for jobs or work and stuff like that. And I made a choice a long time ago. I said, I'm never going to put myself in a box to where I'm going to have to live a life of fear.
Well, that will come soon enough. Fleet.
I think, you know, with work purposes, if, you know, I don't hide who I am, and I just, like I said, I don't hide who I am, and I don't want to portray something that I'm not, because I don't want to be put in that position where I'm going to be in fear all the time of being exposed, or what are they going to find out, or are they going to hold that against me, or you take me as I am. And I think that's what pride is just stepping into who you are and just embracing it. And one thing is interesting, we don't celebrate pride right now. Our pride is in the winter because of our temperature.
Right. Of
So
course.
so ours is like 5 months.
When do you celebrate your pride?
I think we celebrate like in November.
Where are
somewhere around
you?
there.
Where is he?
I'm
Where are you?
I'm at Springs.
Palm Springs.
Oh, okay. Oh, California.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's too hot to celebrate right
Oh,
now.
yeah. Oh, I
Right.
know.
I'm trying to remember because there was when I lived there so long ago. I mean, you had Dinah Shore weekend.
Yeah.
And you
yeah,
had-
Yeah.
I did that
Pride.
many times.
Both were important.
Yes,
Well,
but
Gretchen,
that's
let's come
my
to you
pride.
now. What does pride mean for you?
You know, something I've probably spent a lot of time thinking about, particularly with these celebrations and with publicizing these kinds of celebrations, which I think is so important. John actually said it earlier when he talked about being able to go anywhere and not think about it. I'm waiting for a day when it's not assumed
Mm-hmm.
one way or the other. It's also not assumed that I'm straight. It's like it's just another thing. Like, you know, no different than you know, what do you do for a living kind of question. You know, it's like I want it to be that sort of innocuous, but I think that comes from us being out there and being visible. And saying what we need to say, you know, things like conservative friends who or people that I know who will say, you know, well, what about straight pride? It's the other 11 months.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
you know, and the thing is, be thankful that you don't need it.
Right.
Because I think what we want is to get to a point in time where we don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's already just another wonderful aspect of who we are. And I have always, I mean, I've been out for a very long time. And I always tell people I am so grateful to be gay because I don't know how else I'd get to sleep with women. And I think it's, you know.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Okay.
But that's my long running joke, but it's a part of who I am. And at the same time, it's not the definition of who I am.
Well, you know, it's funny that you say
know,
that. Danny and I
yeah.
have been together, I guess, 5 years. And I called my mom and I says, Mom, I have something to tell you. I think Danny is gay. My mom said, I'm going to hang up on you right now. So, Michael, I want to ask you the same question. What does pride mean to you?
Well, let me give you an example because I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, which kind of remains a really conservative spot, to put it mildly. And I came out in the 80s and I moved away and I came to California, and that's sort of when pride parades and activism and everything was starting, and it kind of really built through the 90s and to the aughts and to a level now where I was able to go with my husband to my high school reunion last month and hold hands and be affectionate, and it wasn't strange. It wasn't, it was.
Michael, let me ask you this question, because the same thing happened with my husband and I several years ago when I went to my 40th past reunion. The fear of what to expect was much more intense than what actually happened there. And everybody was welcomed, both my husband and me, with open arms. And I think for the most part, this is my experience, everyone, and you all may have had different experiences. I think the world is more embracing than not. At least that's been my experience.
I think so too.
I think more, I think my classmates probably liked him better than they liked me, but it was, it was everybody, nobody had a problem with it. It to me, it's being able to move through the world without controversy or having this be something really strange. It's just part of who we are.
Yes. I'm sure you remember, I don't know, in the old days when we did shows, I had, gay shows, they were in a field, in a forest. It was, underground in the railroad. You couldn't do shows I got to tell you, those days were great financially because we were special. So we got paid specially. But then when it opened up and gay comics went to comedy clubs, that ruined that. But, so I remember, I'm, like I said, 100 years old. And so when I was in school, I graduated in 72. Anybody else that old out there? And I'm writing this memoir. I never had piano lessons. And it'll come out, hopefully before I'm dead. But anyhow, and I talk about, there's a section about being gay in those days. I mean, who did you relate to? There was nobody on TV. It was like, right. I didn't even know what you called it. I didn't, I didn't. And all I know is that where do I find like people? You know what I mean? Where do I go? And I have a story about me finding the lesbian switchboard in the Village Voice. Do you remember that? They had the lesbian switchboard in the Village Voice, and I called them. And every time they answered, I hung up. That's how scared I was. I thought that they would see me through the phone. And it was, way different times. I mean, and now it's true. There were two women that got married. I work a lot of straight cruises. And I don't really come out on the straight cruises. There's no reason. My act doesn't go that way. Anyhow. But I saw two women get married, two women in the cast, a dancer and a singer, on the cruise. They were both in dresses. They looked great. I was like, and you know what? A lot of the passengers watched. Some were not happy with it, and they went on their way. And that made me think, holy shit, has things changed? Holy crap. Yeah. So,
in my high school, the gay and lesbian support groups were called band and choir.
yeah,
that's true. John, I want to talk a little bit about your show because you're performing this weekend, Pride Weekend. What a time to be doing a show, and directed by the marvelous Marilyn May.
Yeah.
Special guest star is Seth Sykes,
right?
Who hasn't come out of the closet yet.
You are kidding, right?
I am joking, of course. Seth is one of my favorite entertainers. I love him. So tell us about this show and what your goals and hopes are that audiences will come away with after seeing your show. Well,
there've been different pieces. Everyone's been saying different things that I'm really trying to focus on. One is, yes, it's so exciting just to not have to think about it, right? Just to kind of go through life and not question, just be yourself and not think it. That's something I hope to convey in this show. I also do think, I say in the show, like, we're celebrating all of us. I mean, we are celebrating, yes, gay, transgender, all that. But I think we can make this without losing its distinctive quality. We can also say to everybody, you're all liberated because we're liberated. You're all better off.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, you talk about relatives, let's say, or you, Michele, you talked about on the cruise, someone who disapproved, right? I've seen quite a few families where a gay son or a gay daughter got married, and many members of that family who prior to the marriage, I mean, this includes members of my near and dear, my own family, not my direct family, but cousins. After that, suddenly there was acceptance in a way that was astonishing. And I mean, to the point where I have a cousin who I went to a family reunion. I had not seen this group of cousins at the time. And without comment, my aunt says, "Oh, and this is my son." And she introduced. And I had to scratch my head. And I thought, I haven't seen them in about 10 or 15 years. I thought they had two daughters. Well, you know the rest of the story.
Nice.
He go through it. And I could never have imagined his father
Yeah.
understanding or accepting that, and yet now he does. So anyway, I'm digressing a lot, Richard, but the idea of the show is it just how it expands, and our good thoughts help other people come to acceptance, maybe acceptance of things in themselves, not just sexual, maybe aspects of their lives. When someone sees someone ready to marry a man, a son ready to marry a man, it might make the father think, well, have I pursued what I want to pursue in life? Maybe I want to be a carpenter and not a banker or something. There's a lot of ways this pride it's a hugely good thing.
Absolutely. Now, I have a theory, and I want to talk about this theory with all of you. My theory is that people who get upset, I just heard yesterday from a friend of mine who lives in Delaware, Delaware has a huge LGBTQ. I want to get all the letters in.
There's too many. There's too many. Move
too
on.
many.
But you have a huge LGBTQ plus population, and just in this week's election, they voted against protections on same-sex marriage in the state of Delaware, which is very shocking. But my theory is that people who are upset and who are fighting for to go against our rights and everything are people who are truly not living their own authentic lives. I think many of them, that's why you see things when people come out in the news,
Right.
secret lives that they're living and everything. It's because somehow along the way, they have not been able to live their authentic lives.
Absolutely.
So, to me, I always like to go back to the 5-year-old self, because to me, the 5-year-old self is the purest self. It's before peer pressure in school, teachers start telling us who we should be, who we should not be, family members saying, well, you shouldn't play with those things. That's for girls or boys or whatever. And I want to go to each of you, and I'm going to start with you, Gretchen, and go back to your 5-year-old self.
Oh, Jesus.
What your life was like. There we're going to go with this.
I don't remember her, but I'll try.
Well, try.
I heard she existed.
And when, was there a time where it was difficult for you to be your authentic self? And if so, what got you to the other side of that fence?
Wow. When I was younger, it wasn't something that really even was in my, mindset. I liked, little girl things and little boy things, as so many kids who are just being themselves do. I loved playing with trucks just as much as I loved playing with Barbies. It didn't matter. And I also grew up with horse people and on a farm and all of that. So, I was a bit of a tomboy from the get-go. I found a picture actually of myself at a horse show when I was 5, and my mother had that stupid Dorothy Hamill haircut that I couldn't talk her out of. And, I'd be wearing like a t-shirt and overalls. And so people thought I was a boy. And, but I found this picture of myself at this horse show, and I have like a plaid shirt on and a straw hat with my, shoulder length Dorothy Hamill haircut, a little shorter than that, and these chaps on. And I look like a little boy. And I went, you know what, Mom? You did this. I didn't choose this outfit. You did this. And I don't know when I got to the other side of it. I was with somebody in my 20s who was just very obvious, and we had this very sort of butch femme look to us. And sometimes we go out, people would think we were a straight couple, and I had to be out with her because there was no hiding it, and that was both a positive for me and challenging for me. I was teaching school in those days, and it was still scary, even in, the Palm Springs area. Of course, I was teaching in Coachella. So, but I think as I got older, I got to a point where I stopped caring. and what anybody thought. And, you know, this day job, like I'm filming from my boss's office. Everybody's gone for the day. But when I came here, I just decided that I was going to be me. They could take it or leave it. You know, I was older than every other woman that they'd hired. You know, they were hiring like, you know, women that looked like they'd just come from the bar. And I had this joke in my show that my boss loved. And I said, I looked around this place and this did not seem like the kind of place that their next hire was going to be a middle-aged lesbian. But here I was. and they took me in. And in those, I mean, that's been over 12 years. But I remember even then thinking, I'm just going to be me. Like, I don't have the time or patience anymore to be anyone else. So I think I just got to that point. And, you know, like other folks have said, bringing home partners that your family loves and things like that. I will also say to some of the naysayers, I think they're in the minority now, which is a beautiful thing. And I sometimes think, in addition to not living your authentic life, I think there's something to be said for what your life experience is. Because I remember my mother saying to me, it took her some time, and I remember her saying to me, my biggest concern is I don't know any, she didn't know any lesbians at the time. I have an aunt, so she just knew her. I don't know anybody who is in a loving, committed relationship. So I don't have an experience with that. And I just want to know that you can live a fulfilling life and be happy. That was her thing. And because she didn't have an experience of a long, you know, lesbian marriage that was happy. And so that said a lot to me, that I give a little leeway and I give people a little time to wrap their head around what we don't know, what we're not familiar with. But that's another reason, going back to the earlier question, why these celebrations are still so important.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you for saying all that.
Yeah.
Michael, same question.
When I was 5?
You know, well, I mean, you know, what your life was like, and was there a difficult period for you? I mean, you grew up in the South. I grew up in the South, so I know what that's like. But I was marching to my own drum beat long before anyone else even knew what to make of me. But was there a difficult process of getting to the other side of comfortability in your life?
You know, I found the piano when I was 5. Like, I was already plunking out keys and, you know, started lessons by the time I was 6. So that was something that wasn't necessarily gay, although probably a little gayer than football, but it was like became this real this focused part of my life. And then, like, when I got into junior high and high school, I could play Elton John and Bruce Springsteen, and people wanted to hang out and listen to it, and it was a way to be popular and connect, because I really wasn't so good at connecting in other ways. So that's just kind of how I muddled through. And I was in college, I was in a fraternity. I didn't know I was gay. I really didn't. And then, you know, after I graduated college, I figured it out, and it was abrupt. It was no gradual shift. And I don't know if I was
living my life, Michael. That's exactly the
I had a similar experience.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if I was hiding anything or struggling. I think I was just kind of doing what I could under the circumstances to feel connection. And then when I came out, boy, did it make sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
John, same question.
Well, yeah, muddling through is what I would say. I certainly, if I went back to 5 or 6, about those ages, I mean, for instance, I even then I wanted we put on little shows. We're not at 5, but maybe 6, 7, 8 in the backyard of our house and the neighbors, and I was always the one organizing it and loved doing it. And then I had a grandmother who I absolutely adored, and I remember one time, very young, and she said, she was just talking about someone else, and she said, "Oh, well, you know," she said, "he's a dancer type."
Uh-huh.
And I may have been literally 7 years old or 8 years old, but I absolutely knew what she was saying, and it tore me up because I loved her so much. And it was other parental figures said similar things, but I really I remember having a conversation with myself, driving the family car. I don't think I was more than 8 or 9. I had just heard the word homosexual, I think, and I don't even know how I had. But I was sitting in the back of that car, and this little voice said to me, "That's what you are, and you must never, ever let anybody know."
Wow. Wow.
It was deathly. And that went on until, I mean, I had gay experiences, always subterfuges. So I was always hiding it, ashamed and all that through high school. And then college, I really, in senior year, I met this wonderful man, fell in love. We had a wonderful time and affair, and I came out. Just suddenly it was easy. It had been so difficult. So maybe, Michael, kind of what you're talking about. I mean, it just was easy when I fell in love. But I didn't. I actually, when that relationship was over, I realized I had missed one thing, which was the people who did muddle through and kind of went step by step. They had learned things I hadn't learned. I had all through my 20s, really into the 30s, I had to learn about coming out, if you will. I had come out so suddenly after hiding it for so long. I just didn't kind of know what to do. So,
yeah, that's great.
But muddling through.
Muddling through.
But getting there.
Michele, same question.
I can barely remember when I was 50, let alone 5. Are you kidding? Are you out of your mind? 5, Jesus Christ! I was born in Coney Island. I actually grew up right there on the boardwalk as a child there in the projects. It's all in my book. I never had piano lessons. All about coming out, the whole 9 yards, and I would love to learn piano. But the only thing I remember, very random, is that I have pictures of us on the beach, Coney Island. And I'm sitting there with little trunks and no top, like all the other little girls had girl bathing suits. I was sitting there with trunks. So what happened? They set me up like they set you up. I was sitting there with little trunks and no top. And I remember seeing that. And
it's Mom's fault.
Yeah. So, and my life is different. My mother died when I was young, so I didn't have the same as most people coming out. It just, when you read my book, I never had piano. You'll see that I don't know how I'm still alive. But anyhow, the thing I remember most about Gay Pride is that in the 90s, we used to put on, I don't know if you remember, Richard, when I used to do a lot of sketch comedy shows. As a matter of fact, Don't Tell Mamas, I did the Duplex.
I did the Village Gate, yes.
Oh, we did all of those shows, and you put a sketch group together. And I remember when they had the gay games. Do you guys remember that? The gay games in New York?
Yeah.
So we put the gay dames do the gay games, and we did it was hilarious. I mean, the people in the show were really funny, singer this. And I was just sitting there thinking we did Don't Tell Mama, we did all, and it was so much fun because we all did shows around Gay Pride. It was, that was our subject matter, and it was so much fun. And now I loved working with the group. I'm now all alone, so if anybody wants to put me in their group, I'm here.
Well, come join us at Actors Equity. We're marching on Sunday.
What are you doing?
I'm marching with Actors Equity.
Oh. No, I mean, to perform. I don't march. Yeah. Look at me. I'm old. I'm tired. I schlep, I don't walk.
Yeah, well, wow. So, Fleet, I'm going to ask you the same question.
What?
Well, at 5 years old, I knew who I was at 5. I mean, I didn't know the name of it, but I was very much aware of it. And I never really, except for work, I really never was in the closet. I didn't go out and announce it, but I always told people, don't hate me because I'm popular. I had a lot of dates. Let's put it that way.
Oh, good for you. Well, I want to talk about. Oh no! I'm sorry. Keep going.
But I grew up in Akron, Ohio, which is very conservative. It's I didn't know how conservative it was until I left there. And like I said, and I was singing and dancing around the house as a little kid. At 5 years old, I sang with my first orchestra, and all my relatives kept saying, God, you got to put this kid in show business, and I guess it was obvious then when I'm twirling around in the kitchen that I wasn't like other boys. And it was so funny that the principal at my elementary school called my parents in and had a meeting with them. And he said, I think there's something wrong with him because he only plays with the girls.
Huh.
And then when I graduated from high school, oh my God, he was arrested for being a pedophile.
Wow.
And when,
I like that.
Wow.
Isn't it? But I was going to say, but I was going to answer something that you had talked about earlier. He who yells the loudest has the most to hide.
Do you? Can I just say, remember that movie American Beauty? Was it American Beauty?
Mhm.
Where at the end, where that soldier who was a dick to his son and all of that, turned out that he was gay, and he was told. You remember that movie? With Kevin, what's his name? The one who
Spacey.
Kevin
yeah,
Spacey.
that's what I meant. But because he was gay, really, and that was like real. And I think that way when people are against something, there's something within themselves, that they can't handle it. And
you're
so
triggering something they're fighting with.
Right,
You're triggering something that they're internally fighting with, and they're afraid you're going to expose it.
And you're too close to home, exactly. And that's exactly what I think. That happens a lot. The ones that scream the loudest because they have, something. How many politicians do you find out later they've been in a car getting a blowjob? After that, you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell?
Wow.
My God.
I want to talk about those. You threw me for a moment.
Yeah, I said blowjob. I know. I'm sorry.
I want to talk about these.
We just got canceled.
Moments. No, not here. That's not going to happen here. But first of all, I can't speak for any of you, but I can say for myself, I'm glad that I came down the path that I came. I am glad that I grew up at a time where people went to gay bars to meet other people. People were not always on their iPhones or connected to their phones, and people got out of the house and they did something. There's something special about the first time you go into a gay bar, or the first time you go to a place like Provincetown. The first time I went there, it was like I was in gay Disneyland. I felt that I was with people that were like-minded and that there was no judgment. Although we all know there's a lot of judgment in our community too. So unfortunately, but that goes on. So I'm going to start with you, Michael, this time. Was there a special place or an event or something where you were surrounded by your tribe, for lack of a better word, and you felt this is truly where I belong?
Well, certainly when I came to California, when I was able to go to, I think it was called Rage at the time. It was a big bar. It was on a busy street with wide open doors that opened up to the street, where exposed for everyone, and it's so crowded, full of people. And contrast that to what I had grown up with. The gay bar was called Come Out After Dark. It was called CO. And then the other gay bar, you had to go around a back alley and get in, and the owner's mother and father were shelling peas and collecting your money to come in. That was shrouded under the darkness. But yeah, the first time in a wide open sunlit gay bar, the first time in P-Town, crazy fun, and I miss those days when you did make real connections with people. And that's just not for the gay community. That's for anybody. Everyone is so. Yeah. We've been reduced to this impersonal, computerized method of talking to people and meeting people, and there's nothing like just meeting people and falling in love with people and flirting with people, and we really had a glory days of that.
No, it was amazing. John, same question.
Well, I'm gonna be a little contrarian in one respect. I totally agree with you that it was a marvelous time. The first time I was taken to Flamingo, and yes, it was heaven. It was heaven, and everything was, and the flirting and the carrying on, and it was all. I mean, New York was heaven in our 20s and 30s. It was, but I do think. I mean, I hear this a lot. My generation saying, "Isn't it too bad that people don't go have the bars and this thing?" But then I listen to these kids And I am really quite amazed at the younger generation. I don't know where they've gotten it from, but I love getting on like if I'm on the subway at 3:00 in the afternoon, all the kids are getting out of school and they're flooding the subway. I live in the Upper West Side, it's full of kids going home. And I just listen to the comments and I see the kids themselves. I mean, a lot of them are very androgynously dressed, whether they're gay or straight. I mean, and they seem so free and easy with themselves. So I don't know how it's happened, but I think maybe it's connected to what we were all talking about before, that acceptance has become so widespread that these kids are figuring something out, and they are so much more open. I mean, I look back to my high school and imagine a gay group in high school.
I know, same thing.
Right. Yeah.
My partner works up in upstate New York for the high school system up there. He is mentor to a program in the junior high school. They have 12 members and about 4 or 5 of them identify as transgender. I can't imagine that going on even in New York City where I grew up, much like, so anyway, I'm muddling around, but
you're doing brilliantly. I like what you're saying.
I think the younger generation is pretty spectacular. I in their absolute, and I mean, see, there's the young cousins and everything. The way their attitudes are different. We prized being at those clubs because we felt special and we were free and we were finally, at least that's what I felt. We were finally loosening the bonds, and we were going to be ourselves, and that was beyond exciting. But these kids, and they all call themselves, you ask them, most of them will say, "Oh, I'm bi." I mean, they don't hesitate to call themselves bi.
Well, that's because they all grew up in a different, where they could see it on TV.
Right.
That's right.
They, exposed to it. We were not exposed to any
so
of that.
they may not have the bars and all that we had, but they have something in their DNA that is pretty remarkable, I think. Maybe I suppose it's more likely to be in New York or cities, but I have this feeling it's pretty more widespread than it ever was before.
I think so. I agree with you on that. Michelle?
Wow.
Same question.
But
you performed on cruise ships. I mean, but that first time that you were with a group of women or even the gay community where you felt I have found my tribe, this is where I belong?
Well, I have 2 tribes. I'm Jewish, I'm gay, so we have a couple of tribes. But it's funny, I performed in P-Town for years. I loved it there too. And I used to do a joke because what happened is all of a sudden straight people came in. They did. All of a sudden they started coming over to me. I'm like, is the rest of the world not enough for you? You have to come over here, like Fire Island. They did that too. It's like, you have the world, leave us alone. So it was great because you felt like you were like Fire Island, Cherry Grove. I was there in the 80s, I think I was doing cocaine, but I was there in the 80s. And I don't know, whatever I remember. And it was like you were on an island. It was so great because you did, in those days, it wasn't like, these kids now, they don't think anything's wrong with being bi because it's normal for them. It's normal. It's, they grew up with that. And so we would have to go hide in an island in at the ass of Cape Cod or whatever, it was very different. And and I was always, I got on Celebrity. My first time I worked on Celebrity Cruises, this straight cruise. This woman comes up to me, a big, real lesbian, dykey lesbian. And she knew who I was from working on it. And she comes over and starts talking to me. And it's terrible. I got like, oh my God, don't talk to me. I don't want people to know. Really, I got all paranoid. I'm like, they're going to fire me now. They see me talking to you. I'm done. I just started work. That went through my mind. Like, shoo, go away. Go, I mean, that's how I felt. And for most of my life, I didn't want to be, associated. I was scared. I'm going to lose my job and, whatever. Or now I don't give a shit. No, I'm just kidding.
So, Fleet, I'm going to ask you the same question. You're muted. Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was the first time I went into a gay bar. It was called Mother's. It was in a back alley. It was like a speakeasy. They had a little window, and you just didn't go there. You had to be brought in by somebody, and you were a card carrying member. But every time I went in there, it was just it felt like a magical land, and I can still close my eyes and think about it. And it was just a wonderful time. And we were talking about during that time. I mean, I've been in bars where during that time where they tried to bomb it and come in with guns and try to shoot you, and then the police would come in and raid the place, and they would blink the lights, and everybody had to scatter. If you were dancing with another man, you had to separate and all. I mean, I remember those times, but my first night was when I was Mother's, and I was presented, and you had to be presented to the queen to be accepted and be part of the pride.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it something that gay people were arrested for being gay at one point?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
In
isn't it something?
1969, it was still illegal.
Yeah.
In 1971, I think it was still illegal
Yeah.
in the States.
Well, 69 Stonewall, that was the reason for the going back to
Right.
attacking those fucking cops back, leave
And
us
in my hometown, if you were a drag queen, if you got arrested, if you didn't have one piece of male
That's
clothing article on there, you would go to jail.
That's right.
Isn't it crazy? I know. So I guess in that way, look how far we've come,
So you wear a jockstrap.
Oh.
Yeah.
People are married now.
I love that, Michael.
Yeah.
Gretchen, same question.
I love everyone's answers because I resonate with all of it. When I
You little
was,
bastard.
um,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a full-fledged lesbian now. I actually have a cat.
you know what? I have.
I'm a lesbian now.
I won't even admit how many I have.
Oh,
in
I have
public.
one that's
So,
just smacking me.
Well,
over
I
there.
must
I'm
be a
gonna get her
lesbian
in 5
too. I
minutes.
have
Okay.
two cats.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I remember I came out in my early 20s, and I had fallen in love with this woman that was in a theater group with, and of course that was kind of always how you met people, through projects in common, clubs, whatever it was.
Oops, where'd you go?
And what'd you say?
Oh no, I'm talking to my computer. I did something, and you all went away.
Oh no, we're here. We're here.
but I
We're
did
here.
something.
We're
Don't
queer, and we're
cool.
here.
Okay.
And it was very, it was very scary for me at the time. And like John had said, when you fall in love, it makes it easier, and it did, because I got to a point where I just said, I don't care that you're a woman. I just know that I'm in love with you, and I have to see that through. So, and then after I broke up with her, I had a boyfriend my senior year in college. And I still, to this day, say if he'd been just a little more talented, maybe I'd have stayed straight. But, so I was home from college now. I'd broken up with him. I was, hanging out with some friends. And I remember some friends I'd had plans with a friend, and she stood me up. So I opened the newspaper, because that was how you found out what was going on. And I saw this ad for a bar called Delilah's, and it said, an intimate spot for women and their friends. And I went, do you think? Could that be? I'm going to go see. And so I went to this lesbian bar by myself. I was terrified. I couldn't believe that I actually took myself out to any bar by myself. I was dressed as straight as could be, and sat at the bar for over an hour, just, drinking white wine. I don't know who I was, but finally some women came up to me and started talking to me, and I ended up, becoming friends. And it was like a whole sort of summer hangout. It was my L Word summer. And it was amazing. And like you'd said, being able to find a community was incredibly liberating and freeing, and to be able to be proud of who I was. But at the time, I was still not really sure where I wanted to be. It took me a long time. And I'm also grateful, for having grown up the way that I did in many respects, and even gay, straight, whatever. Besides the point, I think that today my heart goes out to kids, because I think it's an incredibly hard time to be a kid, because I think that kids are saturated with things that are far beyond anything we had to watch, see, interpret, try to understand the world. Adult problems are all around us, online, everywhere. You can't get away from it.
24/7. Yeah.
And I think that it's I think it's a difficult time. And to them, it's probably not. But, when I think back, I'm grateful to have been sheltered from some things and to have had an opportunity to just be a kid. But I also agree with John in the sense that I think that they're incredible. And the fact that, that it is a group that it's more than welcoming or accepting. It's like Michele said, they don't know any different. Like, right. It just is what it is. And I love that. I also, though, will add to that, to what John said, with, I think in part, we paved the way for that, I would like to say. And I'm certainly grateful to the many men and women who paved the way before me at a time that was much scarier. I mean, I came of age in the 80s and 90s, and it was still, not great to be gay, but it was a whole lot different than it was in the 50s and 60s and early 70s, so what those people paved the way. And then, it was our turn. And now I think what the younger generation is doing is they're kind of picking up the mantle and running with it. I think that they are, and I don't even know that they realize it, but just by allowing themselves to be themselves, to explore who they are, whether it's a non-binary thing or any of it, we don't have to get it, agree with it, anything else. I just love the fact that they're open to trying it out, that they're like, I don't know who I am, but I'm gonna try this label on today, I'm gonna try that one tomorrow, and I'm gonna take this letter of the alphabet the next day. And you know what? Great, because I was terrified to do that.
Can I ask one question?
And
I'm
didn't
sorry,
have a safe space to do that. And yeah.
Raising my, because you're a teacher, right? But I'm wondering what you're saying is that, you were speaking and I interrupted. But anyhow, I'm sorry. This whole transgender. I mean, believe me, I know. People are born in the wrong bodies. But it seems like our young people being influenced by so many now who are going transgender, talking about trans. I went to my nephew's house and I go, why does the son, he's got long hair and earrings and all of this. I go, is he, my brother, I think he's confused. I said, I don't think he's confused. I think he went all the way at this point, because, and I think, there's so much of that I think our kids being influenced go, wow, I can always become a girl, or I can always become a boy now. You know what I mean? It's made it too simple,
I would say, of course, absolutely. But I also think that if anything, it's giving them an opportunity to address who their core person inside is in a way that we couldn't. Right. So
if it's their core person, or they're just being influenced by,
but they might be. That's also true. I mean, remember, even in like the 90s, when all of these women in Hollywood were like, I've been with women too, and the fluid was, and it was a fad. I'm like, oh, my lifestyle is a fad, and that does happen. But I think by going through those, I would argue that having those sort of fads out there for a moment, that when at the end of the day, it kind of evens itself out, and we end up in a place that is more open and accepting. I don't disagree. I mean, there are many times that, I've made all the jokes that, as well. And there are a lot of things that I don't get, and more power to you. But what I respect is them having the courage and the opportunity
I agree with
to
that.
try it.
Well,
It might not be for me, but
well, thank you for that, and thank you, Michele, for bringing that question up. We are at the end of our show, everyone, but I'm going to give each and every one of you a chance to have your final say today. It could be about anything that we spoke about that you want to build upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to leave everybody with today. It could be on the topic of pride, or it could be anything else that you want to say. This is your moment to have your last say today. And when I finish, I will pick one of you. And when that person finishes, you'll pick the next person and the next person until the last person says goodbye. And then I'm going to end with a little promo from one of my sponsors for the week, Ethan Matthias. So thank you for sponsoring the show. I want to thank you all for being here, as I've already said. And I also want to thank everybody who tuned in. I can speak for every single person on this panel when I say this. We don't take it lightly when you take the time to show up for us. So thank you for being here today. 3 things that I want to ask everyone watching and for all of my guests on the show. Go to the YouTube channel. If you like today's show, please hit the like button. Please leave a comment. Hit the share button. And if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Those 4 steps, what it does for us here, it feeds the algorithm beast. And the more responses it gets, the better it shows up in search engines. And I want to keep that going on and on. I also end all of my shows with the same message, and that's to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. All of us have these little devices, these little phones. The next time you're on Facebook or your favorite platform, when the first name pops up, rather than responding with an email, a text, or a private message, respond with a phone call and just say, I just want to check in and see how you're doing, really. Because that's what's missing, I think, with all of us. And I think that's why we're so polarized right now. Regardless of what side you're on politically, whether you're gay, straight, in between, any of that, we all need to be on the same page as far as communication is concerned. I have a dear friend. Gretchen has the same dear friend, Sean Moniger. And Sean Moniger says we're all in the same storm, but we're in different size boats. And I always say, I don't care what size boat you're on, as long as you have a skipper by your side.
there you go.
And I'm going to turn it over to you, Fleet. And when you finish, you'll pick the next person. Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
Goodbye.
Well, I just want to say I'm really grateful, and I'm so glad that I was able to share this time with all of you. It's been a really wonderful time, and getting to know each one of you, because I've worked in the theater community, but it's been a long time. I work in film and television now, but I still connect with all of you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this today with you. And I want to say happy Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And you guys have a beautiful and wonderful day. And take it away, Gretchen.
I was just going to say, because I joined the temple and they're doing a Pride event tonight at my temple. Okay.
Are you going?
Well, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to have to.
All right. So I should pick you next.
You don't have to.
Good job, us. I think my last thought is just a thank you. I don't get an opportunity to be on a panel like this on this particular topic, which is very near and dear to me because it is a rather large part of my life. So I thank all of you and Richard and Fleet for being who you are, for what we've all accomplished together, and for what I hope we can, our next generation can keep accomplishing for us to a day when, maybe it's just the norm. It's just another piece of who we are. And that would be, that would be a beautiful thing. We're all just loved and celebrated for who we are as human beings, because at the end of the day, that is who we all are. We're all in that boat. There's a few people we can.
I'm on too many.
There's a couple of people we'll leave off the human boat, but
Yeah.
We just have love each other. That's what we need to do.
Before
we need to love each other. And Oh yeah, hang on 2 seconds. And the last thing I want to say, and then I'll turn it over to Michelle, is and wherever you are today, hug a cat.
Oh, get out of here with this cat. This cat's killing me. I want to ask you something, Gretchen, first before you go. I'd love to see your shows, all of you. I don't know. Maybe you could get, email me or,
Sure.
let me know where you guys are and blah, 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 blah. And
yes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway,
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say to you before you left.
That's what you wanted to ask. Okay. Terrific. I will reach out to you and I will hand the floor to you as well. Michelle,
Give me
take it
that
away.
floor. Give me that floor. Oh wow, look at us. Where did everybody else go? Does that mean
We're
they
not
don't
the
stay
Brady
to
Bunch
see the
anymore.
end? It's like, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. The hell with you guys. They don't want to hear what we have to say. That's very rude. No, it was great to meet all of you today. It's funny. I mean, like I said, I've been through so many gay prides. I mean, every now and again when I hear another gay pride, I go, just how old am I? Oh God, this is upsetting. But man, it's and we see the change. Like we were talking about. I mean, God, when we first started, and now, now they're talking. I don't even know what non-binary means. I'm so lost back to, with all these things with the non-binary. Call me a he, a thee, a the. It's like, shut up already. You know what? We got this far. Don't take it all back by going, call me a they. What are you, a group? So I some of that stuff is like too out of control for me. I think it's pushing too much, but we are. But you know what? I met somebody the other night, very lovely young girl, too young, but anyhow, after my show, and we were making out in a straight bar. I mean, I'm an old lady. I'm making out with this girl in a straight bar. I'm looking around, going, these are all straight young people. And you know what? Nobody even noticed us, right? Because I'm older. They don't look anymore. But, I was like, wow. It was shocking to me that I did it because I'm still old school. But I needed it. So anyhow, you guys, it was a pleasure to meet you all. I don't know. Pick amongst yourselves. I mean, I don't know who should go next. John,
Oh, you got pick
Michael.
one. Pick one.
Okay, you go, John.
Oh, all right. Well, Michael, it's just you and me, right?
Right.
The others are out there. It's been a great conversation. I think we've touched, I don't know, I just feel like we've touched on so many aspects of it. But I'm going to live with this comment that was made, about muddling through. I think we all figure it out. It's all very complex. We've got a long ways to go. But I do think change has been amazing and so far. And we have to keep that conversation going. And I do think the younger generation is pretty surprising, even if they don't have the bars we had, which were fun. But so, Michael, to you.
I thank you. I'm grateful for this group of people. I wouldn't change anything about the way my life has gone. I'm grateful and proud that I'm gay, and I think it's a really interesting life. I'm grateful for the sense of humor that everyone has shown today and the sense of optimism that we're going to get through this and keep going, and everybody's going to keep being fabulous. And Richard, you're always fabulous. Thank you for having us all, and I look forward to working with you very soon. Bye.
There's a flicker across the screen, coming soon, coming now. Just across the road, just behind the wall, just around the corner, a new bit of history there to write, something you all might underestimate. But wait till you see what's next just beyond. Are you sad? Come along with me, hear the world with my own ears. Hear the starlight faintly twinkling and the ping of candles tinkling. I hear the bells in the summer shower, not just the bells every quarter hour. If you're in need of a world that can shine, come and hear mine. You won't believe it, you think it's a dream to hear a ripping right at the beam. But when you hear trumpets give out a call, you'll know the joint is really jumping down and going. time I won't need a shove. I'll jump. Wait till you see what